What up, YouTube? Rochelle and I are back from Japan, and we had a great time with Ludwig.
I don't want to look at his penis. I'm excited to look at his penis.
Aiden, Sea-Dog VA, and the rest of the yard. We did a lot of really cool things, and I'm going to talk about them right now. This video was sponsored by Rocket Money, but more about that later. Let's talk about where and what we did with Ludwig in Japan. Wow. Now, for those of you who are maybe less cultured than me, this is a map of Japan. Now, I knew all the prefectures, all the capitals, national capital. I am fluent in Japanese, but for those of you that didn't know, this is where Tokyo is. We actually flew into Narita Airport, which it turns out is 2 hours away from Tokyo and was a big mistake. Oopsie poopsie. So after an 11-hour flight, Rochelle and I had to navigate the train station, get on a train, and take a 2-hour train to Tokyo, and then find our hotel. Here is Narita. This is the airport. You take the train through Chiba into Tokyo. In Tokyo Station, our train went full Transformers and split in two, and our train went over here and all the way up to Shinjuku City, where we got off and got our hotel. Now, I will say, Rochelle and I are a couple of gaijin, right? We're a couple of foreigners. That's a word I picked up while I was in Japan. And my friends had been in Japan for almost a week now. And so we assumed that our friends would welcome us with open arms, that they would come to us and say, welcome to Japan. Here's how things are done. Give us the lay of the land culturally. Maybe bring Sea-Dog so that he could help us order food. I immediately called Ludwig when I got in Japan, and he said, hey man, I'm busy tonight, but we should meet up tomorrow. What the fuck is that? What the fuck? We flew 11 hours for this shit? You said come hang out with me in Japan? He said I've got a shindig tonight. Can we meet up tomorrow? If you want to be like me and save for a trip to Japan, the best way to do it is with Rocket Money, and they are today's sponsor, and they're here to help. Rocket Money is an all-in-one finance platform that helps you save more and spend less. This personal finance app allows you to manage subscriptions, lower bills, build a custom budget, and grow your savings all in one place. I use their smart saving feature to save money for Japan, and it turns out that when you're a streamer and you get lots of money direct deposited into your bank account, it saves a lot of money for you. I had to ask Rochelle where all our money was going, and it turned out it was going to the Rocket Money secret savings account, so we had a lot of spending money. I also used it to cancel some bills. ADT, they're a security company. I've been paying them to secure a home I am not living in for quite a while. So shout out to the people still living in Westchester. Hey, we love the west side of Los Angeles. I hope you felt safe over the last 2 years on my dime. So if you want to save more and spend less, join the 3.4 million members using Rocket Money with my hookup. That's rocketmoney.com/Stanz. Or you can click the link in the description. It should be right below. You can also unlock more features with premium. That's rocketmoney.com/Stanz to get started for free. Get your money right. Let's get back to the Japan trip. I'm sitting there. One thing I did not mention is because of all the salty food on the plane and things that are happening in the travel, I've developed a migraine. And this is my first ever migraine. I've never had one. And so I'm nauseous, I'm in pain. And Rochelle, who, I'll be honest, like had a great time there, but wasn't necessarily that interested in going to Japan. It wasn't like on her bucket list of places to visit, was forced to drag me around by my belt loop and try and order food in the middle of Shinjuku. So we are in this basement yakitori, is that where they do the skewers? Trying to point at the menu. They get her an English menu and Rochelle just goes, we'll have the chicken. And then she like draws with her finger all over the menu. This is all chicken. And it was just so, Rochelle, I looked at her and she was like mentally broken. Woke up the next morning to a few texts from Ludwig. Now, one thing I didn't know was that the location he told us about, Ludwig is the worst player in the world. The location he told us about was actually Connor Dog's apartment. And the reason we need to get there at a certain time was because we were taxiing to the airport to fly from Tokyo to Sapporo. We had no idea. We had just landed literally 12 hours before. We were half an hour late to the apartment because, to be honest, I was in my fuck Ludwig state of mind. This guy didn't help us get dinner. This guy didn't help us navigate. This guy didn't do shit. And now he says show up here. I'm assuming he wants to take us somewhere, but not to another fucking island. And so we get to Connor's house. Connor's waiting outside. And he's like, all right, I've already called the taxi. Get in. And we get in, and I introduce Connor Dog to Rochelle, and we're like vibing. And as we're driving, I go, so where are we going? And he goes, oh, the airport. And Rochelle looks at me. It's hard to describe this look. It's like a look of knowing mixed with I was right about Ludwig being a piece of shit mixed with what the fuck is going on here. We had just taken this long flight. Now we're being rushed around and now we're taking another flight. Why didn't we just fly straight to Hokkaido? What is going on here? Where is Ludwig? He's apparently getting his own Uber, his own taxi, trying to figure these things out. Yeah, Connor was very cool and organized and made Rochelle feel a lot better. It turned into kind of like one of those, an impromptu roast of Ludwig, where Connor's asking us like, hey, is he always like this? And we're saying like, yeah, he's pretty much a piece of shit. And Connor's going, yeah, he has been kind of a piece of shit. And we all just shook hands and moved on as we got to the airport. And as we're waiting at the gate, Ludwig comes running up. We're boarding and goes, man, perfect timing. And all of us have like the same look of incredulity of like, how did this man actually make it to Japan?
Hello.
Hey, family trip. Hey. Where are we? So we're in Hokkaido, but we're going to Sapporo. Where are we going?
Yeah, we're like in Chitose, which is like about an hour south.
Allow me.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
We are currently in Chitose.
This feels racist.
What's racist about it?
The way you like sat up and changed everything.
I was just being more like a formal presenter.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'd be
Okay.
racist if I was bowing and stuff.
Okay, got it.
Slime's
Connect your
racist.
Oh, does Slime bow when he speaks Japanese?
So we're currently headed to Sapporo, which is the capital of Hokkaido, the most northern prefecture in Japan, post World War II, after the Russians took over some land and never gave it back.
Wait, is that true?
It is true, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, World War II, they stole the land.
He also spent an abnormal amount of time talking about my wiener.
He did talk
He
about
did.
your
He said that was the
And I
whole
was
reason
uncomfortable with
he
that.
invited me on this trip.
Now, for the weeks leading up to this, Rochelle kept saying like, oh my God, I gotta pack all my winter clothes. We're gonna need boots. We're gonna need big jackets. And I do the classic man thing. I go, I looked up the temperatures. Doesn't look that cold. I'll be wearing my Nike shoes and a hoodie. I was like, hey, it's only like, what, 25 degrees? 25 degrees isn't that cold. And we arrive in what I can only describe as a winter wonderland. It looks like this everywhere. I'm talking giant snow features. Everywhere you step, you're stepping in big powdery snow.
We're going to go to the snow festival. And then tomorrow we're going to go skiing, and it should be pretty fun. This is the warmest thing I have, so I might end up going out to buy some stuff.
I would say atrocious for someone with my garb. Now, the good news is Rochelle has learned not to listen to me, and she had nice boots on and a big jacket, so that was pretty cool. So she stayed warm. The Tokyo experience that I think Westerners have in their head, which is like neon lights and like fucking Japanese characters everywhere. I mean, like the text, not like Japanese anime characters, didn't really exist in Tokyo for me, but it did exist in Sapporo. There were ads everywhere that were cool. There was like the beer man who was like this Dutch dude with like a red beard. He looked just like me for real. This is our friend. This guy was like plastered everywhere, which was like really a vibe. He was the king. And we got to walk around Sapporo and eat my favorite meal of the trip, and that was the ramen in Ramen Alley in Sapporo, which is, you can kind of see it right here. I didn't get like a bigger picture. Oh, when you walk in, it looks like this. So it's just this tiny alley with like this big sign, and when you go in there, there's probably 20 to 25 little ramen shops. And these ramen shops are like 5 to 7 seaters. You have literally no room at all, but you get in there and you order the most delicious ramen you will ever eat in your life. Now, I've said this on stream before, and I maybe stand by it in the United States. I'm a ramen hater. I don't think ramen is good. Ramen's like hot water and noodles. Like, I prefer my noodles without water. What's the water for? Give me the noodles, give me the vegetables, give me the meat separately. The broth doesn't do it for me, but I've been a converted man. This ramen was not only the best ramen that I've ever eaten, it's the best soup I've ever eaten, and it's probably the best liquid that I have ever ingested. I had a delicious miso broth ramen. Rochelle had the spicy version, and Ludwig had the butter corn version, and all three were so good. After this, we went back and got an early night's sleep because the next morning, we were going to do the most physically demanding day of our trip, and that is skiing in Rusutsu? I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Now, some of you got to see from Sea Dog VA's perspective what it looked like. I know that he got this to look a lot nicer later. Oh, there's me eating shit again for the 50th time. Oh, is it my quality, not his? I know he got good. Oh, it is my quality, sorry. Oh, here we go. Now, unfortunately, Ludwig and Aiden and Connor have been skiing their entire life. And so they thought they would be able to teach Rochelle and I how to ski like immediately, right? And so they took us onto what they called the bunny hill, which it turns out is actually like a late beginner hill, and had Rochelle and I fall down it. You're looking at the hill right now, maybe 50 to 100 times. It was frustrating. I think I would be lying if I said there were no tears by Rochelle and I the entire time. Look at how uncomfortable I look. I'm not able to stay standing up on this hill. It was brutal. So we took about 45 minutes getting down this hill, learned nothing, went back in and bought some beer. And we end up, thanks to Rochelle, getting our own private lessons from this British guy named Todd who worked there. And we went from falling 40 to 50 times on this hill, getting frustrated and crying, and going all the way down it, controlling our speed, controlling our turns, doing whatever we wanted. I feel very comfortable skiing now, and I would love to go again. Shout out to Todd. Oh, this is when we split off. These smiles, fake. Saccharine. At this point, we're tired Andes, and we know that they're going to go up on their ski lift to a different mountain. So we actually went into the lodge and watched Connor stream for a little bit while they took this gondola to... Lud was actually a great teacher. I think they just started a little too advanced. Cool stream. Actually badass that the backpack works. It made me want to backpack stream way more. After our ski day, we went to Rochelle's favorite part of the entire trip, and that is the Lakeview Toya Nonakaze Resort and Onsen. Now, I will say that this is actually the ryokan that I booked, and I was not expecting much, because if you go to their hotels.com page, it looks like a regular hotel. And when you get there, it feels like you are in the lap of fucking luxury. You are in pure decadence.
This is our room. Regular 2 beds, because me and Rochelle aren't married yet, not allowed to sleep together. And you can see the 7-Eleven out the window. Convenience store meta in Japan is actually unparalleled. Oh, and the beautiful mountains and snow. I guess I should talk about how beautiful Lake Toya is more than anything. Check that out. But what really got me excited about this place, other than the cool robe, I'm naked under this by the way, we came in here, every door was closed, and we didn't actually know like where we were supposed to go. We thought maybe this was a closet over here. And then when we opened it, and we're transported into this world, are you kidding me? Sheesh! We've been vibing in here. And then the piece de la resistance.
Hi, Chat.
Check out this lake view. Are you kidding me? Our own little balcony with balcony shoes. It's very, very cool. Very, very nice. Skiing yesterday was fun. The food was great.
Oh my god, the food's been amazing.
Yeah, Rochelle got a little buzzer for her ramen that she ordered. That was cool. And now we're gonna sit on the balcony and drink some coffee and hang out, and then go to a different ryokan tonight. Oh, we also did an onsen. What did you think of your first onsen experience?
It was very, very cool. So I was a little nervy because it was me and the 4 boys, so I was by myself.
Right.
And so I went in by myself.
Just to be clear, it was a split onsen. It wasn't both genders.
It wasn't both genders.
Yeah,
so
Rochelle had to go to the
went
women's
to one
onsen.
side,
Yeah.
the women went to another. So I kissed Nathan goodbye in case I never saw him again.
What are you talking
Went
about?
into the women's side, and so you take off your shoes and they give you the little clip. I had a little clip for our shoes.
Yeah, to
You know
mark
that?
your shoes.
Yep,
Yeah.
so we had that. And then there's little baskets and you get fully nude, fully naked. And then once you're fully naked, you walk out into the baths area, and then you have to give yourself a bath before you can actually get in the onsen. So then I get in, and there was 3 different big pools. So there's one main pool, which is the onsen, and you slowly kind of dip your way down into it. And then there was what I thought was maybe a sulfur pool because it was all pink and it felt a little bit more soapy, but it wasn't soap. It was hard to explain. And I was gonna leave, and then I noticed this big ass staircase in the middle of the room. And I thought, that's gotta be something. You know, all these people are walking around naked. I felt a little weird walking around naked going upstairs, but I thought, fuck it, I'm in Japan one time, let's do it. Go up the stairs, and that's like the main onsen, I realized, because it's outside. It's literally a big ass pool that's outside on the top level. You got snow falling gently on your back and on your butt while your insides are all nice and warm because you're sitting in like a big ass jacuzzi basically. It was very, very cool, very surreal. That was my onsen experience.
It was good. Mine was Ludwig trying to make snowmen and sitting in the snow. A little less relaxing, but still very fun. So that was the Lake Toya Nonakaze Inn. We're leaving here today. It was good. You should get it. I mean, look at the room. The room is insane.
Rochelle was worried because Ludwig, I don't know if this can go in the YouTube video because it's fucking weird, but Ludwig had spent the 2 days before this on the trip talking about how excited he was to see my cock.
Why do you want to look at his penis in the onsen?
It sounded like you said, I don't want to.
You said you
Yes,
wanted
you
to.
do. You specifically said you were excited.
Can I say it? I don't want to look at his penis. I'm excited to look at his penis. That's different.
How?
Because there's a difference in a friendship with someone that you hang out with and have a good time with, and a friendship where you look at their cock and ball. And Connor can vouch on that.
Yeah,
Got
that's true.
it.
He's talking facts, actually.
There's like a
makes lot of
level up
sense.
when you look at someone's cock
You
and
break.
ball.
Don't say it like that.
How am I saying it?
You say it. Well, you could just say cock and
No,
ball.
cock and ball.
He brought it up at least 4 times a day. Just how excited he was. He was licking his lips. Oh yeah, finally. He did it a lot. It's worth a question mark. It was fucking weird. And Rochelle was like, by the end, she was like, I don't want him to look at your penis.
Well, just one quick, like imagine this is your dick, and I'm like, it just happens. It just happens.
It doesn't just happen. To be clear, it doesn't just happen. I wasn't out here looking at dicks. I feel like you. I think Ludwig is obsessed with dicks, man. You just keep your eyes up, man. You keep your eyes up and you enjoy the fucking onsen. The next day we drove from Lake Toya to Hakodate, which is let me pull up my map for you, is right here. So we started at the airport up here. We went to Sapporo. We went to Lake Toya, which is around right here. And then we drove all the way down around this bay to Hakodate. So I think a lot of you heard about the crab Sebastian that we munched on in this very delicious seafood restaurant. We also got some seafood bowls like at the fish market, which was very cool. All we did was eat, drink, and then go to our hotel. Our hotel also had an onsen, and it also had private room onsens, which was sick. So you can see here in Ludwig's video.
If you have $250 and you find yourself in Japan, come here. I promise.
This was
It's
our
better
room
than
in
any
Hakodate.
single hotel you'll find in Vegas because you get this back connected to a hot spring.
Rochelle, Ludwig, and I
This view.
all woke up early to try and see if we could watch the sun rise from our private onsen. And it turns out, we knew this, we were facing south. You couldn't see shit. You actually couldn't see shit at all. So we chilled around this city. We ate some seafood. We rested here. And then the next morning, we got on the Grand train all the way from Hakodate, or Shin Hakodate, which had a really funny mascot that I put on my Instagram. Actually, I'll pull it up because he's scary as fuck. He's a piece of sushi. Look at him fucking assaulting Hello Kitty. In most of his pictures, his eyes go different directions. Maybe my favorite animated thing that I saw the entire time. So we went and we rode this train that you can see in the picture. Kind of looks phallic. That's so that it goes really quick. All the way back to Tokyo. It was very, very cool. Now, we had something to do Saturday night. It has something to do with the Ludwig versus, and it has something to do with soba noodle eating. I'm not going to say anything about how it turned out. I'm just going to say that historically, in every single video I've done with Ludwig, I've been the GOAT, right? You know me as the GOAT. Remember when I killed Wardell, and remember when I did good at literally everything we've ever done? But could I beat a professional eater? There's no way, right? There's no way. You just have to watch the video. You'll have to watch the video. So we get back to Shinjuku. We do our Ludwig versus challenge. We eat a bunch of soba noodles. We have fun. And then Rochelle and I wake up Sunday morning, which is yesterday, and we have our own day in Shinjuku, which was very cool. We used it to visit a couple places because remember that first day we got in at night and I had a huge migraine, so we didn't really get to do anything. So when we were there on Saturday, we visited the 2 areas of Shinjuku that we wanted to see. One is the Shinjuku National Garden, which is this massive park Costs like $4 to get in, that has all these tea houses and old architecture. It has a bunch of cherry blossoms. Only like 2 of them had bloomed. Most of them were not ready to bloom. That's why people go in later months. And then we also visited, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Meiji Jingu, which is a Shinto shrine, which was fucking lit. So this was the park, the national park. People go there and picnic. They buy coffee and do stuff. There's like a lot of tea houses and cool architecture. They had their own dojo on site, and we kind of like peeked in the window and people were training with bow staffs. They were actually just fucking whipping it around and going nuts, which was very, very cool. So we did that, walked around all day, got some food in Shinjuku, and then went to the airport and flew home. Our flight was a little delayed, but we got home yesterday. You get home to the West Coast earlier than when you leave, which is brazen, crazy, galling, and bizarre. And we had a great time in Japan. I think we didn't really know what to expect going with Ludwig, and the first night was a little rough, but by the end, both of us were cheesing from ear to ear, just having had a great time. I know that, like, before this, I had said my favorite Asian country was Korea. I really enjoyed my time in Korea, but Japan is up there. Japan's fighting, and I definitely want to go to Japan one more time. It would be crazy if that was it. That was my Japan trip for a lifetime. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention was that Ludwig is so fucking stupid. That's not what I forgot to mention, but it's true and it sets the stage. Ludwig had told me he needed me for a Ludwig Versus months ago, weeks ago. And I told him, yo, I'm leaving on the 11th. I'm leaving on the 11th. I'm leaving on the 11th. And he said, no worries, you're leaving on the 11th. So when I get to Japan and he says, all right, we have Ludwig Versus on the 11th, I have to tell him, dog, we're leaving. And not only are we leaving, I decided to splurge. I decided to show Rochelle a good time, and we had bought business class on our airline so that we could lay down and sleep the whole time. And Ludwig has decided that instead of changing the date weeks before or spending even a second planning this trip, it is more efficient for him to cancel my flight and rebook me business class on a better airline because they were sold out the next day. So if you count Ludwig paying for the way back, I guess the trip was pretty cheap for me. But if you count the $5K extra he had to spend to get Rochelle and I back, it was maybe a little bit expensive. Hotels averaged about $250 a night, I would say, and the food was remarkably cheap. A meal for one person cost like $8 at most places, even with alcohol. So your mileage may vary. Use Rocket Money. Save some money. I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you all use Rocket Money. ! Rocket Money. Save some money. Go to Tokyo yourself. It was a badass time. I don't think you need to go in March, April when the cherry blossoms bloom. I went in February and it was badass. I would also recommend skiing in Hokkaido if you know how to ski, or if you don't know how to ski and just have enough money to pay for a private instructor. That worked out for us. Thank you.